And we are live. Hello, everyone. Hello and welcome. Good afternoon. This is Enlightened World Network that you are on, and I'm Teri Angel doing Gratitude Happy Hour. I have a special guest with me today, and I would like to introduce her. But first, I'd like to ask you to share this out. So if you're seeing the broadcast right now, you're finding us, just hit that share button because sharing is caring, as I like to say. And we like to spread gratitude and love out as far as we can share it. So when you're sharing it with someone, they're going to be blessed by what they receive from our show today. So I am introducing to you Allie O'Shea, and it's my first time speaking with her in person. So I'm excited. I'm a little awestruck right now because let me just tell you about Allie. She's an international law of attraction practitioner, and I'm very much into the law of attraction. She's a writer, a healer, a coach, and an inspirational speaker. She has helped thousands of people worldwide and continues to help people to understand their ability to create their own reality and to manifest wonderful things into their life through her live teachings, meditations, affirmations, workshops, seminars, interviews, and retreats. Her mission is to inspire you to become the best version of yourself, to understand with complete knowing that you can be, do, or have anything you desire in life. It is also her dream and wish to raise the vibration of the planet one soul at a time. Her website is expansivesouls.com, and I certainly hope that you will go and find out more about this wonderful woman. Allie, welcome to Gratitude Happy Hour.
Teri, thank you so much for having me. I'm delighted to be here.
Oh, this is an honor for me and for many of my listeners who are getting to know you through your book, The Return to Me, which I
Thank
have in my
you.
hand. I love this book. I was so excited to get it and to delve into it and really um, figure out what it's going to do for me. And I'm finding some really great things that are happening in my life, some really inspirational moments that I have had. And isn't that what we do as light workers?
Absolutely. Yeah. That's wonderful. And thank you so much for showing my book. And I'm glad that you are enjoying it and feeling enlightened through it.
Yes, absolutely. I'm just going to share this on my timeline real quickly.
Okay, I'll
Oops.
share it out as well. I have shared it to my timeline, but I'll share it into some of my groups as well.
Thank you. And yeah, if people, we have people on here, if you would just help us to share this out, that would be awesome. And while we're doing that, we're going to be talking about raising our vibration today on this show. So, if this is something that you could use in your life, or maybe you know somebody that could use that inspirational moment, somebody that will give you a tool, that's what we're here for, give you tools and tips of what you can do to help increase your level of frequency. And as we um, raise our frequency, we're helping the whole planet. So it's not for just you. What we
Yeah,
do affects
exactly.
everybody.
Yes.
Everybody. And you know, Allie, I used to be that person that said, what does it matter? What does it matter if I'm in a bad mood? What does it matter if I say something angry to somebody? It's just me, right?
Yeah, a lot.
I'm just one person. What does it matter? And that used to be my attitude
Yeah.
before I understood it. So let's talk about how what we're doing and feeling and saying, how that does affect other people.
Yeah, you remind me of a friend of mine, actually. She often says to me, you know what, I'm allowed to be in a bad mood. I'm having my bad mood today. But the thing is, the mood that we have is our point of attraction. It's the vibration that we put out into the universe. And whatever vibration we're putting out into the universe, we're attracting similar things back to us, similar energies, because we're all energy beings and everything in the universe is energy. So we're attracting those. If you're being honorary, as Abraham Hicks would say, or angry, or any of those types of things, you're going to attract that back into your life, because that's what you're putting out there.
Yeah.
If you're feeling happy and you're smiling at people, you know, if you see somebody that's smiling, it's very hard to give them back like a look, isn't it?
Right, right. It is. It
Because, you know,
is.
in general, if people are smiling at you, you really want to smile back, because it's contagious and you're putting that pure positive energy out into the universe. So you're going to attract that back to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And at the same time, if I'm putting out anger into the universe, then guess what? It's going to keep coming back. It's
Yeah.
that cycle, you know, of just going out and coming back. So if we find ourselves in that state of nothing's going right for me, everything's going wrong. Why can't I get a break? You know, I hear this a lot from my clients. When am
Right.
I ever going to get my break? But the energy that's being put out is that lack, that saying, you know, the universe is against me, nothing's going right, everybody hates me, you know,
Yeah.
that type of energy. And so that law of attraction just says, okay.
Mhm. Yeah, words are really important. It's just like when people say, I am old, I'm too fat, I'm too this, and I'm not good with technology. Words are really, really important. And people don't even understand that, like, even when they say it as a joke, the universe is listening, you know? And
Yeah.
so you need to be careful what you're putting out there into the universe, because not only does it affect sort of the people that you come into contact with, but of course it creates a ripple effect, just like
Mm-hmm.
kindness creates a ripple effect. You know, you pay it forward to someone, they're feeling great all day, they'll pay it forward maybe to somebody the next day, and it creates a ripple effect where
Right.
if you're in a bad mood and I come across you, and not that you put me in a bad mood, but you've caused me to maybe lower my energy, and I'm feeling, you know, a bit peed off with you because you've been in an angry mood for whatever reason. And I come home and I carry that home with me, or I go and meet a friend, or I go to work and things start to spiral. Things always have a ripple effect in the universe as well.
Right, right. And I loved how you changed your verbiage there, because we have a tendency to say, you made me mad, or you made me angry, you made me this. But honestly, nobody can make us anything.
No, that's
We
right.
we we allow their energy to affect us.
Yeah.
And this happens so much. I call them energy vampires, because
Mm-hmm.
they just attack, and it seeps your energy, and it starts all of a sudden. You're like, okay, I give in, I give up.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and energy vampires are the worst, because you feel completely drained when you walk
Mhm.
away, and they've zapped all your energy, and it really takes a lot to raise your vibration back up again.
Yeah, yeah. So what do we do? Like if I've been around somebody, I'm divorced, so my ex-husband was one of those that the world was against him. The world was
Mm,
conspiring to make
victim,
his life horrible.
a
So it
victim.
was, yeah, so it was that constant victimization, and and everything would come true, because, you know, he
Yeah,
created it. Okay, everybody hates me, so of course, you know, he's getting
yeah,
that bad energy. And so that does, it wears on you when you're constantly in contact with that. So if there are people that are experiencing that, maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's a friend or a family member that's pulling on that energy, what can we do? How do we turn that around? Or as Abraham says, pivot away from that.
yeah, pivot. Exactly. Well, yeah, in those circumstances, and especially if it's a family member, and like, say, for example, when you were living with your husband, it's going to be very hard. So the more that we can raise our vibration, the more that we don't come into contact with those people, even if they're living in the same house as us, the more that we raise our vibration and get into alignment. Now, I'm not saying it's easy, especially when you're living with a family member, like a husband, a daughter, a wife, you know, whatever it might be, a mother, who's really negative and pulling on your energy levels. The more that you can raise your vibration and get into alignment, the less contact you will come into them when they're in those types of moods, if you like. Okay. um, Same thing if you're out and about and it's a friend or a neighbor that you know is really negative. the more in alignment and the higher your vibration is raised, the more you will avoid them through the powers of the universe. You might be in the dairy aisle and they'll be in the bread aisle, and you'll totally miss each other. But one of the best things that you can do is to write about their positive aspects. Now, in a lot of cases, and probably in your case too, and from the past, you would have had to dig really deep, right?
Yes.
And of course, this is an Abraham practice, but it really does work. It's writing the positive aspects, digging deep, because in all cases, we can find positive aspects about whoever it is that we're having this kind of push-pull negativity scenario with. We can do it in every single case. Another thing that we can do is to script our life the way that we want it to be. So we can imagine all aspects of that relationship being the way that we want it to be, and journal about it in the present tense as if it's already that way. And that too can really, really help.
I like that. So that's called scripting.
Yeah, scripting. I've got a program on my website, actually. It's really, really powerful. I've actually done it with one of my own relationships where there was problems, and within, I would say, about a week, things changed. Now, it's not to say that they'll continue to change if you start to expect their behavior to be the way that it was, because expectation is a powerful thing, and expectation is actually your point of attraction. So if you expect your husband to be throwing something at you when you go through the door, more often than not, that's what's going to happen. But if you start to focus on the positive aspects, you start to write about the way that you want the relationship to be, then things can and will change.
I love this tool. I love this. I want to learn more. So yeah, that's a wonderful thing. The other thing I think is gratitude.
Gratitude's
when
really
you can
important.
find anything about that person that you can say, I'm grateful, even if it's they took the garbage out today. This was me. This is my experience. Okay. I'm grateful he took the garbage out. I didn't have to do that, and lug it out in the heat and smell it. So I'm very grateful for that. So anything that we can find, right? Any little thing.
Yeah. Perfect. Gratitude and appreciation are extremely important.
Yeah, it's one of our best tools that we can use. And when you're in that midst of a turbulent relationship, and there's all of these feelings that are going on that are not high vibration, it's kind of hard to pull yourself into that gratitude. But what happens is once you do, then you're going to see your emotions start to rise a little bit. And Abraham Hicks talks about that, about the emotional guidance scale, and how you can raise a little bit at a time.
Yeah, exactly. Because it doesn't happen overnight, and it is something that you have to keep working on, because otherwise you can fall back into that sort of expectation mode of, well, he's an angry so-and-so, or whatever it might be, or he's always in a bad mood, or here he's going to come complaining. Instead, using that gratitude and using that as a pivotal moment is really good.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything that's going to help raise your vibration. And as we said, it affects everybody.
Yeah.
And I learned that I'm an Ad Heart facilitator with Heart Math Institute.
Oh, nice.
They do the testing of the frequency on the planet. And so they've got all this research behind them. And what they show is that we are adding to that whole frequency. So what I'm doing really does make a difference. It really does affect the whole collective energy.
Yeah.
So if I'm raising my vibration, I'm helping the whole planet to raise the vibration and the frequency of the planet. It's just wonderful that once we know that, it's such an eye opener.
I think you can see that because like I post positive stuff pretty much all day long in all my groups and on my timeline, but you're probably seeing at the moment with everything that's going on, I won't get into it, but you know what I'm talking about, I'm sure.
Yes.
And there's many, many posts about it. And just one of those posts can make your vibration dip just that little bit.
Mhm.
Even if you choose to scroll past, it's like, ugh, not again.
Right, right. Yeah.
So it is, and it's a collective energy because it's there and it's right there and it's there on social media. And so it's there
Mhm.
for everybody to see. And it's
Yes.
affecting so many thousands and thousands and thousands of people right now.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
need more love and light and high vibratory stuff, not to be
Mhm.
focusing on all this negativity, even though we know it's there. We didn't come to face reality. We came to create reality.
That's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
and what we focus on expands.
Yeah. Yeah. In as little as 17 seconds, another thought like it
Mhm.
joins it. Yeah. Until you reach just
Yeah,
68 seconds.
right. Yeah. So turning how to turn away from that if we do find ourselves do that dip and let's say a news flash comes on. I don't turn the news on, I don't
Yeah.
turn my TV on at all,
Yeah.
but a news flash comes on and somebody tells something that's happening out in the world, so you feel that, you feel your
Mm.
energy change.
Yeah.
We can pivot away from that in some of these ways that you just mentioned, but gratitude, and all of a sudden just like, okay, what is there that's good, what's going on right in the world.
Exactly. Yeah. And you, that's exactly like what Abraham talked about on one of their lessons, if you want to call it, or a
Mhm.
workshop where, I always tell people not to watch the news. And okay, we wanted to be informed when all of this started, right? So we had to
Right.
maybe dip in and dip out, get in, get out,
Hmm.
know what you need to know and get out. But what they say is if they were to broadcast all the news from all over the world, the negative stuff would just be a blip across the screen. And that's what
Hmm.
we're not seeing. We're not seeing all the positive stuff, all the
Yeah.
beautiful babies born each and every day, all the animals that are roaming free, and all the happy moments that go on in people's lives. Of course, we're not seeing that because the news is regurgitating 24/7.
Hmm.
And it is dramatizing everything. And
Yeah.
it's there because it's like entertainment. I know it's supposed to be
Right.
informative, but really, they make their money from entertainment and from the
Hmm.
regurgitation of dramatization of
Yeah.
what's going on. But that's just like a grain of what's going on in the universe, like what
Hmm.
you just said.
Absolutely. Yeah. Drama sells. Yeah. So they found that. They
Yeah.
found it by trial and error, and they know what sells. So
Yeah.
if they can keep people wrapped up in that drama and in that low vibration energy and keep coming back to see what's next, then that's what's going to happen. So I would love to see good news channels all over the place
Yeah.
where we could just get really lifted up by the things that are going right. And there's so much, like you said, there is so much good out in the world, and so many people that are working together to bring
Mm.
peace to our world, to raise the vibration, any way
Yeah.
they can, by helping others, by being that person that sees something that they can do something about. A
Yeah.
lot of times when we watch that bad news, to I don't like using good and bad, but when we watch the news that tells everything that's going wrong, we feel kind of helpless, and it's like I can't do anything about it.
Yes,
But
exactly.
yeah, but when we find something that we can do something about and we're actually going out and doing it, and when we hear those stories of people that are change makers and they're really out there making a difference, it helps us. It increases our hope, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's you know there's actually been so much kindness during all of this that's been going on, with the pandemic, let's just say. um and oh, I can see loads of people on there on Facebook.
Yes.
Hi everyone. There's been loads of kindness that has been shown to people throughout this
Yeah.
pandemic, and I think, if we could, like you said, broadcast more of that and let people know, wow, this happened or that happened at the
Yeah.
store today or on my walk, or, whatever it might be. There's been
Yeah.
so much kindness that has happened throughout this. And there was more of it being sort of put out there on social media at the beginning, but I think that's kind of dropped off now as people are focusing on the different phases and us going back into each and every step. But we won't get into that. But anyway, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And during that time when we weren't able to socialize at all with each other, when we were just totally locked in, um, there was a lot of self-reflection that happened, a lot of people that came together. That's the good part of what happened during those few months, is we did develop a sense of wanting to reach out to others and developing community. So did you find that as well, that there were communities developing?
Absolutely. And I found that a lot of people, especially in one of my groups, Positive Minds, were feeling extremely lonely. And there's a lot of vulnerable people out there, elderly people on their own, people in bad relationships who had no one to talk to, people who are stuck at home who couldn't get out. And that was their solace, was to get out of the house, or somebody who's depressed, or somebody who needed somebody to talk to. So what I actually started to do at the start of the pandemic, I haven't done one for a while, was to do Zoom parties, so that people could come together as a community from those communities and spend some time, an hour, just having company with each other. It wasn't anything in particular that we were talking about. We were just asking each other how we were and how things were, and sort of just having a general chat about things, so that it could uplift somebody's spirits for that 40 minutes or that hour that I was able to stay on. And I think that really helped a lot of people, and people needed that. There's so many people that we don't think about, during this time that we've had and are still going through, that are extremely lonely and have been experiencing a lot of difficulties. So it's very important that we pull together and, really just be one, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. Because one thing that happened, that I felt happened, was we realized that we weren't alone. We weren't the only ones going through this,
Yeah.
that it was global. It was everybody. And when we realized that, it's like, oh, let's talk. Let's process that emotional side of it.
Mm.
There's so many emotions that come up when there's a trauma, and this was a trauma. It was a
Mhm.
trauma for all of us. And any trauma that we go through, there's that emotional impact, and those emotions need to be expressed. We
Yeah.
need to really share with each other, this is what I'm feeling right now. Maybe I'm feeling a little scared, maybe I'm feeling anxious about the future, about what's going to happen, going that what if, the projecting
Yeah.
instead of staying in the now. And so it's good to bring up a conversation where you can let those emotions out and not hold them inside. That's the
Yeah.
worst thing that you can do,
For
is to hold
sure.
them in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but I
Absolutely.
I saw that with the communities that people were sharing with each other. And we actually started a community during that time in my little world. And we just check in every morning.
Yeah.
How's everybody doing?
Yeah.
How are you doing?
Is
How are
that
you
your morning
feeling?
cup of joy place, is
It
it?
is,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That's
Yeah,
great.
that was born during that time, and it's still going strong.
Oh, really?
With
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
yes,
fantastic.
it
Yeah.
is. And we
I
check in every morning, and we're global. We're all over the world, the people
yeah.
that come in.
That's amazing. I started doing gratitude lives when it happened originally. But what happened with my lives was I did it for about a week or two, and I was doing it daily to help people. But what happened was the internet was overloaded and Facebook was making loads of changes. So the sound wasn't coming out properly. So I ended up throwing in the towel, and then I came back, and I still go live quite a lot. Hello, everybody on Facebook.
Yes, yes, we've got wonderful people on here, and a lot of names that I don't recognize. So
Yeah,
thank
I
you for
recognize
coming
them.
in. Yeah, we've got a lot of people that are supporting this show and supporting you today. Thank you all
Oh,
for being here.
yeah. Thanks
So
for
good to
being here,
see
everyone.
you. Yeah, and I see some people that do come in every morning with me on the morning show. So
Oh,
thank you. And
fantastic.
yeah, and I believe that most of those I'm seeing are part of our book club, which we are right now working on the Return to Me. I showed it earlier, but I so love this book. The
Thank
Return to Me, a 21 days to love yourself. Let's talk about that. 21
you.
days is kind of a magical number, isn't it?
Well, it was actually based off a boot camp that I did. I started doing it online first. So, and then I decided I was actually originally going to make a manifesting journal, and it just turned into this. It's what it turned into. So, um, it's one of the most important relationships I believe you could ever have, because it's it's the core of everything, because all other relationships stem from you. So,
Yes.
it's really important that you have that self-love and that self-care for yourself.
Awesome.
Tell
Yeah. And
everybody what your book club's name is, because there's people on here who
yeah,
might have heard it.
it's called Soul Food Book Club. And we are on Facebook. You can find us and please come in. Allie's book is the first one that we're doing. We decided when I was sharing this book with friends, that's how this all started. I shared it with a friend and she's like, well, I want to do it too. So her and I decided let's just do a book club and see if other people want to come in and read this wonderful book and talk about it. And that's what we're going to do. So it's Soul Food Book Club. And people are just now ordering their books. So you haven't missed out on anything if you want to come in. And Allie and I decided before the show started that we'll do a live tomorrow in the book club. So if anybody wants to come in and ask questions, and she wants to just talk about you and why you want to do this. Why do you want to read this book and get more self love? Why would anybody want more self love in their life, right?
And just to meet everybody and say hello and thank you for
Yeah.
buying my book.
Yeah, absolutely. So anybody else that wants to jump in, like I said, we're just starting. So this would be a great time for you to come in and chat with us and we can all discuss this together and what an impact it's made. I know when I got the book and I started that first chapter, I was just in tears answering these questions because they do go deep. They cause you to really sit and reflect. And that's
Yeah.
what I loved about it, Allie. It just really it's not one of those books that you just read for entertainment. This is a book that's going to be life changing. If you put energy into it and put your
Yeah.
time into it, it will change your life.
I think that's the thing. Thank you for saying that, because I think sometimes with books like this, because the questions can be difficult and so profound for some people, they don't actually do it.
Right.
And so it's important to make that first step. It's important to sit down and really ponder those questions and really just ask yourself, who am I? What do I
Who am
want
I?
from my life?
Yeah. Yeah. I love that question. And a lot of times when we start answering that question without putting a lot of thought to it, we start to say what we do, right? What
Yeah,
we're all
yeah,
about instead of really, who am I?
yeah.
And I love your I am affirmations. I've been listening to those now. I think I'm on day 15 or 16 in a row of your 21-day challenge.
Oh,
And I love that. And I always share with people those words that come after I am are the most important words you can say.
yeah.
They really are. And it
Do you
just
know
makes
that
a
was one of the first
difference.
meditations I ever recorded?
Was it?
Yeah, and unfortunately, the music that we bought for that was a little bit short, so it ends up on a loop and you can kind of hear it change. But I love the
I didn't
music
know.
anyway. But it's
Yeah.
just, there's other meditations obviously that I've written and recorded, and as we got more and more
Right.
experienced myself, because my husband does all the background work, he puts the music to it all for me and stuff like
Okay.
that. But yeah, there's other meditations up there like Ho'oponopono and things like that.
Right.
Um,
Is that Paul? Is Paul your husband?
Paul is my husband. Yeah.
He's
Hello, Paul.
he's
He's watching.
he's in the audience. Hi, Paul, and thank you. Thank you for helping with that beautiful meditation. And I didn't even notice the music that it was changing or anything. I would just be responding to those I ams and
Yeah.
bringing that beautiful energy in.
Yeah,
This
and you know what's really funny, Terry? I know that you found me through Luke Bryan Smith, and the funny
yes.
thing is, how I met Luke Bryan Smith was he sent me a friend request, and I think I told you this privately. You might not remember our last conversation, but when he he messaged me, I have an I am song, and I thought, who the heck are you? And I said, really, that's lovely. I have an I am affirmation. And he sent me his I am song. And of course, I fell in love with it. And I fell in love with
Oh,
Lute.
yes.
And I was like, oh my God, I love it. And then he listened to mine. He was like, oh my God, I love yours. So it was like a mutual, just
Yeah.
appreciation for one another. But it was just so funny.
That is funny. I've known Lutz. I haven't met him personally in person, but I've met him over the internet and have talked with him for about 4 years now. And I play his music a lot because they're so uplifting.
Yeah.
And I was very familiar with that I am meditation that he does. I share that a lot out on my page as well. So when I saw that you had an I am meditation, I'm like, oh, yay.
Yeah, because it's so important. And again,
It
that goes back to
is.
self-love.
Mhm.
When I played that meditation for my parents don't really understand what I do. They're in their 80s, and they don't get
Yeah.
it. Um, they said when we played it for them the first time, my mother just looked at me and she said, how do you know you're all those things?
Oh,
I
good
said, Mom, it's
question,
an
Mom.
affirmation.
Oh my gosh. We know it because we feel it.
Yeah, but it's just so funny because she didn't
It
get the whole
is.
concept of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's true. And many people don't. If they're not in touch with themselves and their own sense of self worth, they
Yeah.
don't understand.
Yeah.
And we were talking, I believe it was last night, about how it used to be before we really were able to speak openly about these things, about spirituality and our self-worth and our self-love. It was like back in the day, if you said I love myself, it was like, oh, well, who are you?
Yeah.
Aren't you being
Yeah.
egotistical? you know
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
yeah. So it's great to have that understanding that we are spirit and that we go into that self-love because we're worthy of it. We deserve to be loved and we are
Absolutely.
loved. Yeah.
Absolutely. And we're all one. We're all in this together. So, again, it creates a ripple effect in our relationships that stem from ours. So it all makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm very grateful to Lute because you're in one of his songs. And I was listening to him one day. I was listening to this song that you're in and going,
Vibration.
yeah, and I'm going, okay, who is that? So he made me think and he made me go look and see who Allie O'Shea was. And that's when I found you and I found this beautiful book that you did and your I am affirmations and the other um, videos that you do to help us to uplift our energy. So I'm really grateful to him that he
No.
led me to you. I followed the breadcrumbs, as I say.
Yeah. But you know what? That's co-creation at its best, isn't it? We
It
all
is. Yeah.
kind of find each other through each other. We share each other when we resonate with one another, we'll share each other. And then that's how people find us. And
Mhm.
the more people that can find the sort of uplifting people in this world, the better,
Mhm.
because it's going to cause that ripple effect again. There we are talking about the
Yes.
ripple effect.
Yeah. Yeah. And the ripple, it can be either or. It can be a positive ripple or it can be that negative ripple. I
Yeah.
have a friend that says we decide every day if our life is going to be lived in a playground or a prison. We
Mm.
have that power to choose how we're going to live our life. When we get up in the morning, what kind of day are we going to have? We choose that.
Yeah.
Nobody else makes us feel that way, makes us feel happy or sad. We decide. So we
Mhm.
can put out a positive ripple by getting up in the morning and starting our day with gratitude
Mhm.
and starting our day with I am affirmations
Yeah.
and doing chanting, anything, whatever it is that puts you in that high vibration.
Yeah,
This is,
meditation as well.
oh, yes, meditation
Yeah.
and putting that energy out, putting that ripple out for others to see. That's so important.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's really important to start your day off in the right way. And you know, one of my favorite sentences, and probably one of my husband's favorite sentences as well by Abraham, is about happiness and how it can only come from you. So you got to let
Yes.
everybody else off the hook.
Yes,
He's like, I
exactly.
love that. I'm off
I
the
love,
hook.
yeah, I love that too. And you know, I used to be in that mode of, oh, well, you did that. You made me feel this way,
Yeah.
you know, and it's like, wow, when you finally realize, nope, that,
Yeah, I know
that was all me.
we're growing and expanding, thankfully, and more people
Yeah,
are realizing that, you know, like you said, like with your husband in that victim mindset mode or the negativity
yeah.
mode, that they're creating that. And you
Mhm.
don't have to relive that over and over and over again. You can make a decision today not to be a miserable.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. It's our superpower.
yeah.
We have the power to choose. We have the power to decide what we're going to do with our life and, you know, be awesome, or we can be that grumpy person that nobody wants to be around.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I love that. I'm very grateful to Abraham
Me too.
because that opened my eyes to a lot of things.
Mm.
And when I started learning about the law of attraction, that's when I realized, you know, we do create our reality.
Mhm.
Yeah. So how did that happen for you? How did you come on upon that journey of
The the
the law of
Abraham
attract
tree?
the law of attraction? Yeah.
Oh, the law of attraction. Oh, that's a long story, but I'll try and shorten it. So many years ago, I watched The Secret, just like everybody else did when it
Oh
came
yeah.
out, and I loved
Yes.
it. I had the book, and myself and my husband, he had no work at the time. He'd been made redundant, and we had we had given up cigarettes using e-cigarettes, and we didn't know whether we were going to go to Australia over to his brother to see if we could work with him, or whether we were going to stay here and set up a business for the e-cigarettes, because it had helped us come off cigarettes. Um, so we went to Australia and that didn't work out. So we came home. Everything is always working out for us, no matter what happens. That didn't work out, but everything was still working out. Everything has a divine order and a divine
Yeah.
timing. And I really, truly believe that what was set in motion was how it was meant to be. Long story short, with that, we ended up setting up an e-cigarette business, and I used to bring The Secret into the shop. I know my husband still doesn't believe me, but anyway, I used to bring The Secret into the shop and read it. And I used to visualize. I used to use visualization of people coming, looking in the window, looking at all the stuff coming in. And before you knew it, we were on the news for free. We were in the newspapers. We were on the television. We had queues before we even got in the door in the mornings. Just loads and loads of stuff happened, and it was crazy. It was just crazy, crazy, crazy. Um, Before we even opened the doors to the shop, there was people
Right.
trying to get in. So it just loads of stuff with that. And so fast forward about 3 years into having the business, we'd moved shop. We'd even had a cafe lounge, a vaping lounge. Then we got rid of that, and I started to bringing crystals and angels into a different section of the shop. I had gone and done Reiki because I had a problem with my back, and my friend was doing Reiki on me and it was helping. I had spine surgery, and then I had to be at home because I couldn't go back to work, because I was there full time with
Right.
Paul all the time, apart from when I collected the kids and brought them back to the shop and blah, blah, blah. So when I was at home recovering from my spine surgery, I started doing more studying, and I started taking courses, and I did a beginner's course, and then I did an advanced course, and I did loads of stuff. I actually almost co-authored a book with Joe Vitale, actually, from The Secret.
Wow.
But I said no. But just because I wanted to have my own book rather than just co-authoring with him.
Mm-hmm.
So I got all my qualifications, and I kept learning and growing and expanding. And then, long story short, because this is quite a long story, I'm an energy healer and a Reiki practitioner. But I went and I did all my law of attraction courses, and I got all my certificates for them. By this time, we'd had the crystal shop a couple of years as well. So I was all into all of that. I had this coach at the time in 2017, I think it was. And he said to me, you know, you're not going to get anywhere unless you go live on Facebook. And I said, I don't want to go live on Facebook. I don't want to be seen by people on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so he basically pushed me. In 2000, and I think it was 2018, I saw Abraham. By the way, I manifested a trip using 3 vision boards to go see Abraham in Los Angeles in 2017. And then in 2018, in the month of January, and sort of the end of December as well, I was doing it a little bit on Facebook. The month of January 2018, I went live for 30 days straight.
Wow.
And that's, I kind of built quite a big audience, and people who kind of resonated with the work that I was teaching and showing them. So I also do a lot of Abraham translations for those who were kind of at that very beginner stage.
Right.
Because I knew when I read Abraham's book, first of all, Ask and It's Given, I was like, why can't they just get to the point? What are they talking about?
I know.
So that's kind of the story behind it. But also, I mean, I had suffered 25 years of severe depression, and, you know, I was on suicide watch in my early 20s. So I had begun to use positive. So it's kind of an interweaved story as to how everything sort of fits together. Like, it would probably take me 2 days to tell you everything, but you know, that's kind of the crux of it. That's kind of how it all kind of happened. I also got discovered by Rumi Quotes and wrote about 14 blogs for them as well.
Wow, what an awesome journey.
Yeah,
It
it
really
has been an awesome
is.
journey. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think you're just brilliant, and I love your energy, and I'm loving this book. I'm loving the meditations and the affirmations.
Thank you
So
so much.
so you're in my life now.
Well, that's great. I feel the
Yeah.
same way. I mean, from the first time we met, Teri, I think it has to be said, we both sort of really got each other's energy, and
Yes.
really, I think, you know, that initial connection really tells you whether you resonate with somebody or you don't.
Yes.
And I think we
That's
had that
true.
straight off. So that's brilliant.
Yeah. Yes. And I'm so happy that you were able to come on with me today. I know it's a little late for you there in Ireland, but
Right.
I really appreciate the time that you're giving to this.
Thank
So
you.
um, what else did I want to ask you about? So what's next? Are you traveling? Are you doing anything as far as going about? I know this is a tough time right now for travel, but do you have anything that you've got planned for, like, coming to different parts of the world, especially the United States, maybe?
Oh, it's always the United States. Let me tell you, I love the United States. So when I went to see Abraham in 2017, I went to Vegas for a week afterwards, and I fell in love with Vegas. When
Yes.
I came home, I made another vision board, and it was purely Vegas. And I've got a lot of friends that I co-create with, such as Lute, another friend of mine, Tony Doyle. Like, there's so many of them, and I put them together in a group called the Consciousness Creators. Okay. I brought all my friends that I really felt uplifted everybody and had something to teach
Yeah.
people into a group. And we went live last January for the month
Right.
of January, instead of just me doing it on my own.
Hmm.
But my friend Tony Doyle kept saying to me, I want to work with you. I want to work with you. And I was kind of like, in the beginning, I was like, who are you?
Right.
And it turns out he actually works for Mind Valley, and he knows that you know, Wayne Dyer was his first mentor, and all of this stuff. So Tony's fabulous. And we started planning a workshop in the USA together. And last July, just about a week ago last July, so a year and a week ago, because we've all been reliving the memories. We hosted a workshop, a Manifesting Miracles workshop in Las Vegas this time last year. So that was incredible, because like when you look back and you look at the vision boards as well, how incredible that is. But in answer to your question, and I also hosted a retreat here in Ireland. So this year, before everything kind of struck, I was looking at locations here in Ireland for another retreat. Okay. And luckily, I didn't find anything as incredible as what we had last year, because last year's place was booked out. And the place that I looked at most recently in January or February just didn't float my boat, and it wasn't right for the retreat that I had in mind. So I said no, and was going to continue to look. Mm-hmm. And my plan was to go back to the United States, but probably not until next year, because we've got a place in Spain. That's my husband's parents' place that we usually go to. And my husband missed that last year because we were in Vegas. So we were going to alternate and, you know, maybe go to Spain this year and America next year. So in answer to your question, I really, really can't wait to get back to the United States. I'm hoping to go back next year, but really at the moment, it's so difficult to plan anything that I'm holding off on doing anything until we see where we're at with everything, because there's no point in me planning something and then it's going to fall through, or I lose deposits on places and other people lose deposits, etc., etc.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
It's up there on my website if people are interested to come. I'm not sure if Paul's added 2021, but he might sneakily add 2022.
He just might do that. Well, I am big on intentions, and yes, I do an intentions group every week through private Zoom, and we put out intentions and lift each other up for those. So it's going to be my intention that you're going to come, and I'm going to get to meet you here in the States in 2021.
Oh,
we'll go ahead and set that intention out there. I'm verbalizing it, you know.
And when you write it down, it's even more powerful. Exactly. Whereabouts are you?
I'm in Fort Lauderdale in Florida.
So that's where I plan to go, you know.
Oh, of course it is.
No, it is. I actually put it up about, I can't remember whether it was during the pandemic or not. And I said, you know, the plan was Florida, and the response was incredible.
Okay, let's do it. Let's manifest that, because I don't do vision boards. I do vision cards. So I take like the bigger index cards, and I focus something on one card. So I've got a total focus on that, the energy of that. And I make several of them. Yeah. And in red ink, Christina Bliss says, Christine.
Yeah, because I told her to do it in red ink, because red ink is more powerful, apparently.
I think so. Yeah, I do think it is. So yes, I'm going to do a vision card, and it's going to have your name on it. And we are going to meet in person right here in Fort Lauderdale. So y'all heard
can't wait.
Y'all heard it first here.
Y'all heard it first here.
That's right. And Paul says Daytona we were looking at. Well, Daytona's a few hours away from me, so that'll work if that's what it has to be.
Yeah, that's just a friend of ours suggested Daytona. So we're not sure. We haven't really looked into it much since that conversation, Paul.
Right. Well, you'll know the perfect thing when it comes up. You'll be guided.
Yeah, we had, when we were leaving Vegas last year, I set my intention to do San Francisco for this year. But when we got back, we decided it was too expensive for everybody. You know, don't want to be focusing on lack or anything, but I mean, there's too much and then there's too much. Do you know what I mean? So
right, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I feel it. I know it's going to happen. And you know, I have a connection with the angels, so I'm going to be putting that word in.
Yes. Tell us some more about Janet Miller's with us as well. Hello, Janet. Tell us a bit more about your connection with the angels, will you?
I will. I have seen, heard, and communicated with the angels ever since I can remember. All of my life. Yeah, I grew up in a big family, and I never felt like I really belonged in the family. So it's like I would always go off on my own. I was the one that always was, you know, they had to call me for dinner because I was somewhere off with the angels. And I grew up in the mountains. So I would sit on the side of the mountain where I had my little space, and I would just communicate with them. And they were the ones that let me know that I was loved, because I was in such a big family, and there just wasn't time for each
Yeah.
of us to get that individual attention. So the angels gave me my attention, and I always knew they were there. They've guided me my whole life. I've been
Incredible.
helped from so many disasters and so many things that were life threatening, and they intervened and just helped me from that thing that could have been the end for me. It could have been an exit point. So now I've gotten to know all their energy. So like the archangels, when they come in and I work with them, I know what it feels like. I know their essence, and I channel them. So
Yeah.
when they have a message for somebody, that message just comes through. They
I
just show
love
me
that. I love
exactly
that.
what to say. Yeah.
I've got another friend who channels the angels as well, but it's interesting, isn't it? Do you see them around people as well?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I see the guardian angels. We all have guardian angels. Some have two, some have more.
Mm.
But I always see them. And when I focus in, I can get the name for that person to call them. Angels really don't have names, and they don't have gender. But us humans need that. we need to label things.
So can you see
So,
my angels?
oh my gosh, you have one on, let's see, I know we're reversed. So it would be your left side. It's kind of like right where the Buddha is, but it's to the right of the Buddha. There's a big angel just standing there, absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, right there. And angels are energy. Many people have the misconception that they have like a body like us humans and the wings on the back. They have energy wings, so they're not really something solid that you would feel, but you can feel the
Yes.
energy of that. And that's why they're depicted with wings, because when you look at them and you see that spread of energy going out, it does look like wings. So when I see them, I see their energy field. I see it like the specks of energy just moving, constant movement, and very powerful. And then there's colors that come through when they
Yes.
come into the room. So the color that I'm seeing with yours is more of it's almost like a turquoise color. It's like really pretty as it's showing itself to you. I don't think it's an archangel. I'm not getting archangel energy with it. It's more of an angel that's been working with you to be creative. It feels like a real creative type of energy
Oh,
that you're being guided with. And
thank
even as
you.
even as I say that, it's like there's more movement, more of that turquoise movement that's going on
No.
out. And so it's becoming more vibrant because now it's being acknowledged and you are aware of it. Once
Yeah.
we become aware of our angels and we see them and feel them there, then we can develop that relationship with them and really get that energy constantly, or
Mm.
for whenever we have a question, whatever it is that comes up that we need them for, we
Yeah.
can just, we know that they're right there.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you for being here, Angel.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love seeing the energy movement. It's like a real flow is what I'm getting from it.
Beautiful.
Almost like a waterfall. If you can envision that water just constantly coming, that's what
Mm.
that energy feels like and looks like.
Nice.
Yeah, I want to read Christine's comment. Christine Bliss, thank you for being with us.
He was
So
in
nice,
Vegas with us.
nice to meet you. Oh, awesome. She says, there are many of us who didn't feel we belonged. We seem to be finding each other now and finally feeling we do belong. Our soul family.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the community that I'm talking about, when we realize that we're not the only ones that feel this way, that we know that we belong in a family, but maybe
Mm.
it wasn't the biological family. And I fully believe that we choose our parents, we choose our family of
Mhm.
origin,
Mm.
but there are many of us that know that we came in maybe more awake than others in the family. So there's like that little disconnect and that misalignment of the energy.
Yeah.
So we search for those who do understand us and get us on that level. And
It's
that's how
important.
that's
Yeah.
that's how it develops. That's
Yeah.
how we find it.
Yeah. it is important to find that soul family and to find that community that you do resonate with, so that you can develop yourself too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And feel like you belong, as you and Christine both say, you know.
Absolutely. And we're here to learn that. We're here to
Mm.
learn more about love and
Mm.
for our soul to develop. And the way it develops is to have those interactions, to learn from each other, find our mentors, find those that bring us in and say, okay, now let's look at this. Just like, I look at you as a mentor because this book is life
Oh,
changing for me.
thank you so much. I
And
mean, I'm so honored
yeah,
that you'd say something like that. Thank you so
yeah,
much. Because I
it
know
really
that you
is.
are incredible in your own right. So thank you so much.
You. Thank you. Well, that saying, when the student's ready, the master will appear.
Yeah.
So I was ready for like the next level. I was ready to go further in my self-discovery and to take myself higher into what I was already doing. And that's what this does. It brings you to that place where you're like, okay, now I've got to really do some more inner work.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? Like I said earlier, you have to be willing to do it.
Mhm.
Because I bet
Yes.
there's loads of people that have my book and they've put it on their shelf because they just are procrastinating about not wanting to delve into the inner work. But I've had so
Yeah.
many people contact me over the fact that they have begun the journey, like yourself, into the
Yeah.
book, and how incredible they are finding it.
Mhm.
Because I suppose they aren't questions that we would ordinarily ask ourselves, you know?
No, they're
Uh,
not.
no.
Yeah. And it's so true that we have to step out of our comfort zone.
Yeah.
And if you're not ready to look at that, then yeah, the book's going to just sit there. I've had many books like that.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not quite ready for that journey yet, but I was ready for this one. I was ready for this journey. And I knew it. I knew it. As soon as we connected, I'm like, yeah, I got to do this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the angels were nudging me. They're like, okay, come on, get off your duff and do this.
Oh dear.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of them. They're
Yeah.
not going to force things on us, but they're going to encourage us. And they do that. They take me in a different direction sometimes. And it's interesting and fun and scary all at the same time. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know where this is going to end up, but I'm going.
Yeah. Well, at least you've got their guidance there. I know that we all do, but I suppose it's better when you can have that strong connection like you do to know that you're not just imagining it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was my mindset, is like, am I the only one that sees these beautiful creatures and is really getting this wonderful energy from them? So when I did start finding other people that were like, oh yeah, I talk to the angels, I hear them, I see them, I'm like, whew, yeah, I'm not really crazy.
Yeah. And do you see other spirits too, or is it just angels?
Yeah, I channel loved ones that are in spirit. So the mediumship skill is there, where I can bring forth that energy. And when
Oh,
I first started doing that, it happened just spontaneously. I was talking to a dear friend, and she wanted so bad to hear a message from her dad, and I wanted it for her. So I just was like, okay, let me just see if I get anything. And all of a sudden, I just saw like forms. There wasn't a physicality to it. It was just a form, like a mist. And then I started hearing. So yeah, it's such a beautiful thing to be able to have that connection. And we
yeah.
all have that ability. That's the
Oh,
beauty of it.
yeah, absolutely. And did you see Darcy's comment? She said, I have a hard time dictating. How else can we connect with our angels?
Okay. I'm not sure what your word is for that, but the way I do it, Darcy, is through meditation. I bring in the breath deep into my lungs, and that starts that connection. So when you breathe into your lungs, I call this the high heart space. And when you breathe in and you focus your energy there, when you touch that space, wherever you're touching on your body, that's where your focus goes. So if you want to be heart centered, you place your hand there or your fingers, just touch that space. So I breathe in, meditating was your word. Okay. So I breathe in there, and then I start to feel my energy rising. The more you focus on relaxing into that area, the energy will start rising upward. So you just focus it, keep doing the deep breathing and focus it to where it travels up. And these upper chakras, the crown, the third eye, and the throat chakra, those are all you're connecting to spirit chakras. Okay, that's all about your higher self and your higher connection. So when you start with the heart, being heart centered, and then allowing it to flow upward through the chakras, eventually it's going to go out the crown chakra and connect with your higher self. And once you make that connection, that opens up those clairs. It opens up the ability to see, hear, feel, smell. All of them are going to start opening up and kicking in. And if your intention is to connect with your angels, then set that when you go into your heart center. I want to be able to communicate with my angels. And then just do that practice of reaching up to your higher self and opening up to their energy. And it will happen. It will happen
Beautiful.
for you. Yes, I teach this. I teach classes in how to connect with the angels and how to connect to your clairs, all those special gifts that we all have. And none of us is more capable than anybody else in
Yeah.
opening these gifts. We're all the same. We're all equal. There's no
Yeah,
higher or
exactly.
lower.
Yeah.
So I hope that helped you, Darcy. And I love teaching it. I love teaching the angels and their energy. It's
Oh,
so
I bet
special
your
to me.
classes are amazing. Where can people find your classes?
I have a website called Angel Speakers. Imagine that. Angelspeakers.com, and you can
Yeah.
find me on there. And I'm getting ready to teach some more classes coming up really soon. And the one that I do, it's called A Course in Angels. And my partner that's teaching that with me currently, we're going to make it a certification course. So
Oh,
we're in the
fantastic.
process of doing that now.
Oh, lots of my
Yeah.
friends would be interested in that.
Awesome.
I'm sure.
Awesome.
I mean, I'm even interested in it,
Yeah.
depending on where it is and what time.
Yeah. Well, at the moment, it's going to be virtual.
I know, but with
So
our time zone
I
difference,
know with that difference.
you
Yeah.
know,
And
such a pity.
speaking of time, I can't believe this hour has flown by so quickly, Allie. This has been so amazing with you. Absolutely amazing.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure to be here and an honor to be
It
sitting here with
has.
yourself. And thank you so much for your time. I know that you do such incredible, incredible work yourself, like I said.
Thank
So
you.
thank you so much for having me on your show.
Oh, absolutely. It was an honor to have you here. So for anyone who doesn't know your information, can you share how people would reach out to you?
Sure, I'm on Facebook. I'm on YouTube, just www.youtube.com/Allie O'Shea without the apostrophe. And my website, of course, is www.expansivesouls.com.
Awesome.
Thank you
So
so much.
thank you. And please reach out to Allie. And if you are in the book club, look for our live tomorrow. Allie and I will talk and find that perfect time for
Yeah,
us to come in and just come meet Allie and let her meet you. I'm excited about that happening tomorrow.
yeah, me too.
So
I'm excited as well. So that's good that we talked about that.
yes, absolutely. So many blessings to all of you that came in today. It was so great to see all of you here, and just much love to you all. And Allie, I
Thanks,
love you. And
thanks
we'll,
everybody.
yes, we'll be doing more co-creating, I'm sure.
Yeah, I can feel it already for sure.
Yeah, me too. Bye, everybody.